Hello and welcome to your world. I know what time it is. I know. But we are those people, we have to show up. And today being the 28th of May, it's not only the National Prayer Breakfast Day for the country of Kenya, but globally we celebrate an even bigger day that we're going to be talking about today. That is the Menstrual Hygiene Day. Globally, this day is set aside to create awareness, to break the silence, the stigma, to be loud about how it's important to have a dignified, clean. Mnanisikia? Yeah. Availability of products that are needed by ladies, girls, and women when it comes to menstrual health. My name is Mikali Mary. Karibuni sana to your world.
And my name is Winnie Lubembe. This is actually one of those days that I feel we should be marking it every single day. That we have this conversation every single day in our chamas, in our WhatsApp groups, in our family dinners, in our friend groups, instead of just motioning, every single day. We talk about these conversations every single day because a lot of people are affected by the same, despite the fact that menstruation is a natural occurrence, that if it doesn't happen, it means there's a problem.
Yes.
But yet, there's still stigma surrounding a natural occurrence, which shouldn't be in 2025.
Yeah.
And that is why we're saying today, it doesn't matter kama tunaanza show saa saba.
Yes.
We still have to talk about it because it is the day that is May 28th where the entire world marks World Menstrual Hygiene Day. It's going to be an amazing conversation. You want to stick around. And today's special conversation will actually focus on building a period-friendly world through ending period stigma and period shame. And we have an amazing panel this morning. It's still morning, eh?
It is.
This morning to help us drive this conversation. But before we introduce them, we have an important question for you, all right? And the question is very simple, but also needs you to think about it a little bit, okay? So the question goes, if you could change one thing about how society treats menstruation, what would it be? If you could change one thing about how society treats menstruation, what would it be? Engage with us on our socials at NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on X. We're live in studio, so that means you can even call in and tell us, if you could change one thing about how we treat menstruation, what would it be? And we'll be going through your feedback as we continue with the conversation.
Absolutely. Like Winnie said, we have an amazing panel. And I love that we have a gentleman on our panel. When we talk about menstruation, as women, we just huddle and just talk about it. Yeah. But then it is important to have the men be part of this conversation.
And we're also representing with our outfits. There's red.
Yes.
There's red apple.
Yes. Utapata ka red mahali. There's a red somewhere. So this panel is vibrant, it's diverse, but the one thing that brings them together is the fact that they're here for the girl, they're here for menstrual hygiene. Yes. And I think we're going to start from Winnie's.
Yes.
Winnie, this is
left.
No, so mine is the right. So yours is the left. So we're going to start with...
From my left, yes. And from my left, we have Dr. Ryle Mutai, who's a sexual and reproductive health specialist from United Nations Population Fund, aka UNFPA. Good to have you, Dr. How are you doing? How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
Nice to be here.
Yeah. And I know are we going on air? Yes, we are on air. Yes. Because we have to have this conversation. And we also have Aflin. Me, I was about to say Aflin Yogo, who is a programs officer from Polycom Girl. You'll tell us a little bit about that as well. And to the gents, amongst the ladies who actually said, let me tell you, maybe I love being around women, okay? Because I have learned, there's something he said earlier on when we were having breakfast. He said, I've learned empathy, I've learned love and how to nurture. We're talking about Henry. Henry Frank, who is a community activist. Good to have you, Henry. How are you feeling amongst the lovely women?
We are repping the sisters. We are
Feeling safe.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. Feeling safe. Okay. And last but not least, we have Sumba Njeri, who is a gender equality champion. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
A bit anxious, but...
Really?
Okay, feel anxious. Just look at me. There's positive energy that's going to come this way.
Yeah. You're representing. You're representing. Cindy.
Yes.
She's rapping. She's rapping. But Doc, let's start with you. So, we've had these conversations year in, year out. Every single year we mark, Menstrual Hygiene Day. We still have a lot of conversations around stigma and shame and all those things. So someone might ask, it's 2025.
Surely.
Why are we still talking about stigma and shame and all these things? Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you very much. That's really a good question. And yes, on this 2025 day, Menstrual Hygiene Day, the theme for the year is, together for a period-friendly world.
Yeah.
Meaning that as a 2025, the world is still not period-friendly.
Yeah.
Yes, girls and women are going still through a lot of things because of challenges, starting with access to products, sanitary wear, water, and all that, depending on where they live. But more so those who are living in disadvantaged settlements where there's, no water and all that. And even for the school girls, they start menstruation, they have not received accurate information, and the information is never really that comprehensive because the girls may be receiving parts and pieces of the information, but the boys, the men in the community don't seem to really get it. And therefore, the stigma, the taboos, the myths, misconceptions that really impact negatively, the possibilities and opportunities for women still persist. So this year, the rallying call is that, let's all come together and try to make sure that, restrictions, lack of access to these products should not impede access to education, access to health, and opportunities for girls and women.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said.
I mean, it's as straightforward as that, and to think that is the most difficult thing for it to happen. Like, it feels like we should all be doing this because we know the moment you give birth to a girl, this is the process, this will come, this is it. But then it's the one thing that we're just, please, woye, I can too, please.
Yeah, every single year.
Every single year.
And when the time mentions that sometimes the information is not available to everybody, it reminded me when we were in school, I don't know if this happened to you, where during those talks, tunafichwa, wasichana tunapelekwa classroom yenye, no boy,
it was shrouded in some weird kind of secrecy.
Yes. And the uchungulia hivi hao wanajua nini yenye sisi
hatuambiwi.
But what we're saying is it should be an open
conversation. We're not late to the party. I think we're having it on national television and it's all over the world. So I think we're on the right track. Aflin, how you be? The red be popping. Tell us about Polycom Girls. What is it about? When was it founded? What does it do?
Okay, so Polycom Girls is an organization that was founded in 2004. And when we started, we were addressing matters sexual harassment. And we work with 50 schools. So in these 50 schools, we took the talking boxes. This was in partnership with the NFP. I'm glad you're having them here today. To address matters sexual harassments. And now from these talking boxes, we now got information where there is need for more. The girls told us this need for more. So that is what now made us grow from now being a self-help group to a CBO, and now in 2022 we are now an NGO, not working only in Nairobi, but in other 5 counties in our country, Kenya. So all we do is about empowerment of adolescent girls and young women as our impact target, and also we want these girls to effectively contribute to our communities and also the policies and all that.
Great. What 5 counties are this?
Okay, so we are in Homa Bay County, we are in Kwale County, we are in Kajiado, and also we are in Kilifi.
Kilifi. Was there any particular reason this particular... I can already see something in my head. Was there any particular reason, was there a particular need in this particular counties that needed to be addressed directly?
Okay, so first, when you come to Nairobi, you find that we are in the informal settlement of Kibera. And then now when you go to the Homa Bay County, we are along the lake shores, and the lake shores. And also when you go to the coast counties, we have the ocean. And now when you come to Kajiado, the bit of that area, how it's dry and stuff like that. So we saw that there is a need to reach the remotest area, like off the road. For us, most of our projects is off the road, where we have to reach to that girl who really needs our service as an organization.
Thank you, Aflin.
We'll come back to then explore deeper, because earlier on when we were talking, we said, hey, Homa Bay. Because I'm talking home, I could all the way to Nairobi. But Henry, so you've grown up. You're the firstborn.
Yeah.
And your siblings are 5. And all girls. Can you tell us a little bit about how that is and the setup and why this conversation actually matters to you, aside from what you're doing to the community, but you and your immediate family and your sisters? Why is this conversation so important to you?
Yeah, so my mom was blessed with 5 girls, beautiful girls.
Yes.
Who I lead them as their firstborn.
Yeah.
And our first girl, her name is Elizabeth, when she was growing, now let me say starting adolescent,
All right.
there was this time she could exclude herself in our gatherings in the house, go to the bed, sleep, and she would be crying a lot of times. Sometimes just sleep and maybe not talking to anybody.
Okay.
And when she was needed to work, my mom could scold her a lot. Alikuwa anaita na kuja na mchapa ati Liza amekuwa kichwa ngumu, Liza amemea, Liza kuna matiti anaona anaweza fanya kitu anataka, you get.
Yeah.
So my mom was like so off with the conversation with Liza, and she's an extrovert.
Okay.
So she doesn't talk to people a lot unless you come
Introvert.
close to her. So when this was happening, there was this time I was selling soap by then, I was doing sales. So when I come home and it was on a weekend, I'm like, Liz, what's happening?
Yeah.
Mbona unashida umenyamaza na unadharau mama yako? Kwa sababu I was so worried. Mimi naheshimu mama yangu. Why would my sister not respect my mom?
Yeah.
Hapo like siati siheshimu mom. Ni venye naumwa na siwezi fanya kitu. Hiki ndio inafanyika hii na hii na nahitaji hii na hii.
Okay.
And so when I talked to Liz, I was like, by the way, unahitaji mtu kuongelesha. Unaona sasa mimi nimeongea nikajua na mama jui. So that day I go outside, I'm with my friends and I come back again. Mama amemchapa tena, amemuona wo. Liz hataki kupika, Liz hataki kuosha vyombo, Liz hataki kufanya nini. And I'm like, mama umekaa chini kuongea na Liz kweli? Kwa sababu mimi leo niliongea na Liz na akaniambia hii ndio shida. Wewe umekaa ukamsikiza kweli? Ati hapana, mtu akona kitu ngambia mama, hebu enda na Liz kando. Liz ashafika hii age. Liz ni mtu mkubwa na hii ndio inafanyika. Fanyaje? Ongea naye kwa sababu anahitaji usaidizi wako sasa.
Alright.
And I remember that day nilikuwa nimepata kwa kuuza ilikuwa 150.
Okay.
Sales hainaga pesa. So nikaenda nikachukua 60 nikambaia pad. Na nikamwambia mom, mimi sikuwa expect nitakuwa nanunua kitu, lakini sasa hii kwa sababu nimeona uwezi ongea na watoto, itabidi nikuwe na intervene.
You took up.
And I was like I need to help. And
Yeah.
addressing that with our first girl helped us with the second one and the third one. Our third one is now 12, Kimberly.
Oh.
And Kimberly is among our females who is more into men.
Yeah.
And she's
Okay,
so,
men as in
no, like anakaa na wanaume sana.
Yes.
Yeah.
The boys.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
Kim
the
Ako,
boys.
when it's playing, she's with the boys.
Yeah.
When they want to do something a lot of the time, and I'm like, mom, sasa venye tulifanya na Liz tulikosea, tusifanye kwa the third one. And remember, we still have 2 remaining.
Yes.
So we need to talk to this one and we need to inform her before everything happens. And this one helped me because even in my life, nikianza in my dating and everything, ilifanya nika explore more because now I handled my girlfriends as my sisters because
Friends.
like, yeah.
Girlfriend.
Now I have exes. I have
Very
exes.
keen, Winnie.
I have exes.
Exes.
Yeah, I have
Okay.
exes.
Okay.
So I handled each and every one like a sister because I was remembering this one anaweza kuwa Aliz in another setup but
Yes.
hana brother mkubwa.
Yeah.
So in as much as I'm your boyfriend, I also want to be that big brother. And when I'm doing shopping, I'll come with that always. Naweza uliza gani inaendana na wewe, gani endana na wewe, kama ni soft care nini. Nimejua kidogo kidogo.
Good job, Henry.
Na hapo ndani nitupe ka chocolate kamoja. So it has helped me a lot to come to understand that kuna vitu zenye wanaume hatufanyi zenye tunafaa tukiwe tunafanya to help the girls because a lot of men we don't understand what the girls are going through. It also made me understand that oh, they need a chocolate to be like this, they need this and this to do this, they need to rest.
I think it's the good gestures that come. It's little beautiful things make you happy.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that, Henry.
Yeah, so it made me change the perspective of how I view girls because when I was in primary before my sister started, we used to like see kweli ni uchafu. Wasichana wako na shida. You get? So we grew up that the boys were so big on wasichana manze hapana kuna time. But now ninakumbuka there is a point I reached nikiwa mali wanaume wanaongea negative about how they whatever girls go through, I'm like You need to understand that they go through a lot na si uchafu. They are just healthy ni venye inakuja that way. To understand, tunaweza saidia aje. Kwa sababu there are some of the girls who will come around us na hata wana hiyo pad. Unaona? So we need to like look for a way to help them. Na mimi imekam because of my sisters. Imekuwa able to like, I'm now supposed to like help.
Henry is standing in the gap.
And help without asking anything in return. Because you know, like you were talking about like Homa Bay, unajua hapo kwa show, tunajua you don't trade this.
I understand her. I was in Homa Bay High School, so
Hey, Henry akona maneno.
Akona experience.
Sumbo, you're also in this space where you bring together teenage girls. You told me earlier it's a sisterhood of some sort in Kibra as well. Maybe you can tell us a bit more about that and the ways that you use to get them to hear you, talk to you, open up to you.
And the need for the thing in the first place,
The need for?
To have that sisterhood, bring them together,
Okay. So it's called the Sisterhood Continent. I run an initiative that I call the Sisterhood Continent. So unlike my good friend here, I don't have a sister. I'm the only girl. So that is a gap I had growing up. So I decided to be like the big sister to the small girls around me, and that's why I called it the Sisterhood Continent, to address the diversity of different girls. So what I basically do is meet up with adolescent girls, maybe on weekends or mostly on during the holidays, so as to reach as many as possible. We do like a hangout. No, if you were grown, we'd call it a feminist hangout, but now it's just like a sisterhood hangout. And one thing about these adolescent girls, they're very conversant with TikTok challenges, songs,
music,
and all that music. And it's like they're all talented in dancing. So I just play music for them. They dance, they compete, they showcase. And when you do that, they get ground to be like, they're now relaxed. It's no longer a formal setup. It's no longer, no one is now aware of where they are. You're just free. And now after, the dancing and everything, we get to discuss matters, menstruation, the gaps there are. And that's where children will tell you, Mimi pad kama hii ni kubwa, it feels some type of way, but they don't have an option because that is what they're given, or that is what the donation has given them. You get to understand that some girls have normalized yeast infections. They don't even know it's yeast infections. The pad reacts with you, and you just know it's normal for you to have a fishy odor after every menstrual cycle, but it's not normal.
Wow. Okay.
I think it's people are doing different things in different spaces, from at the top, uko, to all the way down to community, which gives, it's encouraging, really. It is really encouraging.
It really is,
These conversations are being had in those spaces. But then again, I'm sure there are challenges. There are things that you cannot do by yourself as well. And we're here to look at all of that as well. Because when you look at that, probably that community, of that community that you built of the sisterhood, some of the things that come up when it comes to, finding or access to these things, and some of the things they have to do to be able to access. Some of them some miss out on school, some of the things they go through.
Okay, so I haven't met a girl from my continent that has missed school, but the things they have to do is like, you have to sit with one pad the whole day because you're menstruating, and the challenges as the founder of that initiative I was facing, it's an initiative I've been running for a minute. So at first, like I said, I'm anxious sitting here. I have some sort of social anxiety, so I can do things, but I'm not telling people what I'm doing. So I am doing it on my own. So my people just see adolescent girls knocking at the door, and they call me aside, and I will either get into my pocket and ask for money. And then I started liaising with organizations, and I'm a member of Polycom Girls in Kibra, not in Homa Bay. So that is where I got the boldness to say that it's actually an initiative. When you're doing advocacy, you ask for help. And now it's easy for me to address these gaps. Like, not all menstrual products are of good quality, hence they react to the adolescent girls. We have a very huge issue of menstrual waste management. And those adolescent girls will tell you, I will even tell you, at some point in my cycle, I've had to walk with a dirty menstrual. I used menstrual pad in my bag because I couldn't find somewhere to dispose it. And you're always anxious because what if someone gets into my bag? Now imagine this adolescent girl in high school or in primary, bag yako imeharibika zip. Someone might knock off your bag and then a used pad falls from your bag. So it's a whole process. It's a 1 week thing, but it's like a whole year.
And I'm happy that you mentioned that, because most of the time when we're talking about, or when we're having conversations about, menstruation and the importance of dealing with stigma and whatnot, we don't really look at the waste management aspect of the same. Where do they take, use pads? Where do they dispose them? And if so, how do you do it in a way that is also friendly to the environment and to the communities? I really like that aspect. We'll dig deeper into that. But Dr. Ryle, I know for UNFPA, this is not just a day to talk about this, this whole conversation. There's a whole reason, behind this campaign, and especially the hashtag which we're using today with this Flow
with Pride.
Flow with Pride, right? Yeah. Can we help us really understand, the importance of the campaign from UNFPA's perspective?
And Dr. we will take a break.
Oh, we're going to break.
On that note, so that we don't rush you with the answer, but we need to take a break, quickly pay our bills. But when you come back, we'll definitely have that question answered. And imagine social media, Zico, we have a question for you.
Yes.
And the question is...
very simple.
Yes.
Yeah. If you could.
Yes, thank you, Winnie. There you go. If you could change one thing about how society treats menstruation, what would it be? If you could change one thing about how society treats menstruation, what would it be? On all our social media platforms, we will be checking your feedback after this very short commercial break. Welcome back to Your World. And today we are all matters menstrual hygiene, because it's the 28th of May and globally this day is marked as one of the most important days when it comes to menstrual health, education, awareness, unlocking, breaking the silence, the stigma and all of that. And the question we're asking you today is, if we could just have it on the screen, it's doing the thing again. Maybe it'll be nice. Maybe it'll be nice. The question today is,
there you have it.
If you could change one thing about how society treats menstruation, what would it be? If you could change one thing about how society treats menstruation, what would it be? And Winnie, you have feedback?
I have a lot of feedback and I feel like giving these people a hug.
Yeah.
So, Yamet Jr. on Facebook says, all ladies working be given off days during their menses and given free sanitary pads. Yes, and he's not alone. Carl Peterson anasema, all the ladies should be given free pads.
Oh, yes.
Okay. And then, Ngimat Jackson. And Jackson. And I'm hoping that it's all, the first three that I'm reading is all male.
Yeah.
And they're saying free offs for all ladies during these days, whether she's working, studying, or anything. She should also be given a packet of soft gears. I think pads, what they're saying. And then Suzanne Deritu says, some people still see menstruation as a taboo. We've got to break that norm.
Absolutely.
Totally agree. The great engineer still on Facebook says, supporting those who cannot afford the towels. Another one says, this is Raymond Reddington, says, looking for those schools that girls are really in need of sanitary pads. Really in need. I mean, Cisna, that part. And then Joy Love says, ending the stigma and silence around menstruation. Absolutely. Mariga Wiki says, pads stroke diapers to be free. And this is pads. To work in a pads. To be free. And then Denny, China, and then even on Facebook, says, offer pads for free and let condoms be sold. Okay. And then Karaoke Sarah says, you should be entitled to an off day or two. I don't get any work done anyway on my first day. You know that campaign with you you can focus. So to pay off day. Yes. They're saying. And then Kandia Jr. says, free sanitary towels. So keep sending them our way on the question that is, if you could change one thing about how society treats menstruation, what would it be? And remember to use the hashtag Flow with Pride. We'll be looking at your feedback more as we continue. But should we answer the question, Doc? Yes, please. Why this is such an important campaign for you.
Yeah, so thank you very much. So this Flow with Pride campaign is something we're doing just starting, I think, starting this month. And this story builds on a real life event. There was that girl, I don't know if you remember, 2019, a girl in Bomet ended her life after being period shamed in school. And you can see how tragic that situation, you know, was, because, you know, why was she period shamed? Because the boys, maybe the teachers, they just don't have adequate information on the whole issue and were not able to handle it appropriately. So this film that was screened in Kwale County, with the cast is from Kwale, builds on that story. And, you know, the whole objective is to stimulate conversations in our communities on addressing the secrecy, you know, just the issue of access to these commodities, and to be able to really ensure that there is a dignified approach to the issue of menstruation. You know, menstruation is not supposed to stop people from going to school, going to work, or even, healthcare, because we've heard a lot about people using inappropriate products or substandard, poor quality things can give them infections. And, you know, infections for women and young girls can mean long-term implications, you know, and we want to really protect the reproductive lives of these women and all the girls. So the film really will be screened. It's being screened in schools, in the community, just to stimulate the conversation. It's available on YouTube so that people can really, you know, start talking about it. Or, you know, it should be all of community, all of society approach. And, you know, we are together creating a period-friendly world. That is the objective at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
That's great.
I mean, I see that, because her death should not be in vain. No. And that should never, ever happen again. We should never, ever lose another life.
I want to add that the screening of this film, it is with the support of the Embassy of Denmark in Kenya. Yes, so they are the ones who have really funded most of you know, the whole process. It took quite long to get that film to come out, and it's something worth watching. So we really recognize their contribution.
We celebrate them as well. I think it's a big deal, and to have people locally and internationally who are coming into our space as Kenyans to talk to us about that creative film that as Kenyans probably we should be at the forefront of it, because it happened to us here. And even as each and every one of you does something in their spaces, Uko, we have the menstrual hygiene management policy. And the question would be, as much as we're doing this, there's a policy out there. What is being done in terms of the implementation? Because I think we've had this conversation so many times where we have great policies, but then when it comes to the implementation of it, then apo kuna shida. So what are some of the gaps that probably you've seen, experienced, something more needs to be done by those in power in the spirit of the national prayer breakfast?
So thank you very much. That's a very valid question. You know, we've had the MHM policy since 2019. It's supposed to run up to 2030. It has about 5 objectives. It was about creating an enabling environment at national and at county, making the products accessible, the sanitation where, you know, have a mechanism for tracking whether really the policy is working. And because, you know, one of the biggest component of that policy is together with the Basic Education Amendment Act was the provision of the free sanitary wear to primary school girls. And I think an assessment done as recent as 2022-23 say that, first of all, the program is under budgeted. No, it is budgeted appropriately, but the allocation was hardly a third of what is required, meaning that the sanitary towels that are available nationally for those schools are just about a third. So instead of 9 packs per girl, probably get 7, 5, 3, or whatever is available. And it even comes erratically, so meaning that many girls would still have challenges in accessing that. The other big thing that comes as a gap is the issue of disposal, because you go to most schools, the latrines, the toilets are just in a disastrous state, you know, dilapidated to the worst. There is no proper place for people to change, and that's why perhaps most girls will end up just staying with their pad the whole day, which is quite unhealthy. So we really need to improve the sanitary facilities in schools, have also water just to wash hands, because some of the counties, some places, schools don't have reliable water source and the likes, have bins, you know, in these schools where there is water and the likes. So those are some of the gaps. But the other thing is really, I think for me, the bigger thing is the allocation and really making sure that these products are available continuously. And as it is, it looks like the policy has focused on the school, but nothing to do with the people just out there in the community. So, and we know that there are very many disadvantaged girls and women who, as long as they are not students in the school, they cannot access those products. So that even the one who went to school ends up sharing their pads with others back at home. So it is never really enough.
And I want you to also chime in into the same, but also speak a little bit on the taxation part and how, because you see, we might look at taxation on the national level, and we need to collect taxes and all those things. But down there in the communities, there's this young girl who cannot afford to buy a pad because of the heavy taxation. So how is it impacting, say families, girls and women, say amongst the ones that you work with, and even just across the country, really?
Okay, thank you so much. So one thing that I really want to emphasize is that period stigma or period poverty is not just about the lack of that part, but it comes with a lot of stuff in between, building up. One thing is, from the rural areas, I just said that we work in the remotest areas, the off the road. So an example from Homa Bay, the girls after school, they go to the river, they go and bathe, swim, and then when they swim, the panties tends to wear out so fast. And then another thing is that we did a study in one of the schools, and out of the 50 girls, 7 girls only had one panty. 7 girls. So imagine us doing it in all the schools that you are in. So you can imagine a girl having one panty and then it rains. And then, right now, not everyone is taught that you should air your panties outside under the sun. So when it doesn't dry, the kid goes to school with no panty. And then now, with regards to the swimming, the panty has worn out, and now it can't hold the pad so well. Yes, and then another thing is we work in areas where there is a lot of sun and dust, and it is so dry. So imagine sitting in class with one pad under that the heat and so forth. You can imagine. It's a discomfort to even that girl. And then walking those distances again. So the burns and every other thing. And then, yes, we appreciate the strides that GAF has made distributing these pads to these schools. And as Dr. Mutai has said, that they are not enough, and also we are not considering the other girls and young women who are out of the school. So this girl who is in school is the one now kind of providing for all the other family members who are girls in that homestead. So you'll find that in a cycle, a girl will only have like 2 pads, you see? So it's something that it's not just pads. Just the pad. And then now the GAF is also not just giving pads, but not the panties. Yes. So you're wondering, how am I coming in now as Polycom? You see? Yes. How am I going to complement what this government is doing? Yes. So that is why you said taxation. Feminine products are so expensive. They are very expensive. Even the ng'ombe, the mafuta that wame increase bei pia ya hiyo. Yes, so you just wonder, is it really trickling down to, like, we pay so much taxes, but you find that the GAF or even the capitation now to allocate more parts to this girl is not even yet there. The girl is supposed to get 9 parts, but he or she is getting either 2 per term, or if it is most, it is 5. And then this 5 you have to go and give your fellows back at home. So it is something that we're still looking into, even as Polycom, when we are producing our pads back at Kibera, the dependent pads. But something must be done more so in the remotest area of this country in Kenya.
And we cannot talk about menstruation without talking about water. Access to water. And you're doing so much in the community. Henry, do you want to take us through that?
So there is this initiative I started. Growing up in Kibera, we have a problem of clean water, not just water, but access to clean water. And I have a sensitive stomach. Every time I used to drink the water from the taps, I used to like go 2 weeks not going to school, sometimes a month, and it used to be a problem. And when I now started hustling, and I'm like, yo, I'm doing a lot of things, but I've not considered helping myself and helping others who are like me.
Yes.
So I started a project called Majitini.
Majitini.
Yeah, it's Maji Mabatini. So the rusty roofs of Kibra. So the aim of the project is to provide public schools with purified water by building boreholes. Then giving the schools free water, but selling to the community at a cheaper price, but the water is purified. And so because I'm not already registered or financially stable, I started by selling water with the mkokoteni, with the 20-liter jerry cans. So what I do, I fetch water from a spot where the water is clean, and then I distribute it to the areas where we don't have water, but I sell it at a cheaper price. So instead of giving them with 30 shillings, mine is half. I sell with 15 shillings. Yeah, so I avail water to these people so that when my dream now comes true of availing it to the schools, the kids won't have a problem like I have stomach aches or anything. I can study well. If they go to play and they need water, they have access to water.
Or during that time of the month where you need to...
They also need to clean themselves. Water can be a good thing to be in the schools as well as also in the community, in different spots where people can access. And also with the project we are intending to do plastic waste collections, where we'll reduce plastic in Kibra. And with these spots of collection, we were intending to like have, in all the garbage, you can have plastic, paper, and the pads for the ladies. We also have the toilets where we can have water and stuff for people to like access. So it's a dream that I'm still working on, and I'm hoping that it's going to be helpful in the near future.
I mean, it's a good thing that you've started.
Yes.
Yeah, right?
Helpful it will be.
Yes.
Definitely will be. We just hope and pray that it comes to fruition. And you're doing all the right things to just make sure you're on the right path for sure. Sumba, coming from a family where you felt you were the only girl, so there were probably these conversations about, you know, menstrual health or menstrual hygiene, menstruation generally, probably, I don't know if they were happening there or not. And now you have a group of girls that come together and you talk about these things, but then they do not live independently. There are men in those families, there are fathers in those families, uncles, whoever it is that they're living with. How are those situations back home? Even after you empower them, do they come from safe spaces where those conversations can continue, where they have the courage now to be like, Dad, Mom is not around, but I need a pad. It's that a time of the month. Are those conversations happening at the grassroots? They have a sister in you and you carry all the burden.
Okay, I'd say they have, first things first, they have a sister in me.
Good.
So I sort of carry all the burden. Growing up, being the only, I'm a child to a single mother. So mostly my parent is focused on providing.
Yes.
So, and and I'm a late bloomer, so I started my menstruation when I was in high school. So these were not conversations that were in my head like that. These were things that were happening in school. Just like your school, we used to call girls aside,
alone,
give them pads. But then during my time, we used to be given 9 packs. And then you go with them home. And I was amongst the girls who are not ashamed to carry the pads. But right now thinking about it, it's because I knew Miss Janza. So mimi nabebea mama yangu.
It's all about me. Exactly that.
See Mimi. But now looking at these girls, let me tell you, our oppression, I usually say the oppression of women and girls is systemic. Because patriarchy exists. And sadly, patriarchy exists even within the women. It's like ni kama uzi.
It's how we've been socialized.
Woven into the fabric of existence. So these are things that automatically you rarely find these girls speaking to their fathers. Okay, this is because the society I come from. Either you are from a single mother household, or if the father is available, they're rarely there. Maybe when they come back, they're
Physically
drunk.
there.
Physically there,
but
maybe when they come back, they're drunk. But now we have the brothers, we have the male cousins and all, but they're rarely interested in this. And I will say that the societal norms and retrogressive cultural norms really affect the progress of creating a children-friendly world. Now, so at the end of the day, this adolescent girl who has her own emotions, hormones and everything will just prefer knocking at my door. They don't have.
You know, they feel safer.
Or those ones who have sisters, maybe in high school or something, will prefer taking either borrowing from the sister or just taking one from the sister's bag and then they will play.
Okay. We have Daniel on the line from Homa Bay. Hello, Daniel.
Yes, please. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I'm happy to get it from the panelists. I'm very grateful for the program.
Yes.
Yes, I have a question to the doctor.
Yes.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, so the question goes.
Go ahead.
So the question I have is that what can the doctor say about the parts that can be reused, those that can be recycled as pertaining to the hygiene to our girls?
All right, so thank you very much, Daniel. When it comes to menstrual products, we have reusable and the one single-use products. So I think the issue here is if the product has been certified, you know, normally in Kenya, when there's a product to be used, and especially for such a sensitive thing, the expectation is that it should meet the KEBS standards because there are standards on what menstrual hygiene products should meet. And those products which have been registered are certified and they are safe to use, yes.
All right.
Daniel,
happy?
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for calling us. Daniel, do you have another caller on the line?
we do not have another caller, but we're going to take a break now and then come back. So don't go too far. Remember, we have a question for you today. And the question is, if you could change one thing about how society treats menstruation, what would it be? If you could change one thing about how the society treats menstruation, what would it be? If there's something, your feedback, more of them after the short break. The show is your world. Stay back. All right, welcome back. Welcome back to the show on this very important day
where the entire world is marking World Menstrual Hygiene Day. And this is marked every year on the 28th. And of course, like I said when we started the show, this is a conversation that if you ask me, this day, we should have it every single day so that we talk about these things every single day, all right? But even as we talk about it, we have a caller on the line, Cedric, all the way from Awendo. Good morning. Oh, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Cedric. Are you with us?
Yes.
Fantastic. Good to hear from you. Do you have a question or a comment?
Good afternoon to you.
Thank you for calling us. Do you mind just turning down the volume of your TV so that we can to skizan?
Yes, my question is.
Cedric, we can hear feedback from your TV. Kindly turn it down.
Okay, sawa.
Aya, swali lako ni gani?
Sasa nilikuwa na swali kuhusu hii pad.
All right.
Sasa saa zingine uko na mtoto na akona pad na kwa hiyo pad yake umenunua hiyo pad umempee. Sasa kufanya kwa hiyo pad tajui vizuri. Je, kuna tatizo lolote ya hiyo pad kweli?
Pad haiwekwi vizuri kwa panty ama
mtoto ako na pad.
Mtoto ako na pad
na ajui kufanya hiyo na pad vizuri.
Ajui kuiweka.
Hajui kuiweka.
Yes.
Okay.
So hiyo swali ndio maana akakuuliza.
Okay. All right. Okay. Dr. Ryle, do you wanna? Okay. I just stay on the line, Cedric. Daktari anakujibu.
All right. Asante sana, Cedric. Hizi pads okay, sana sana zinafanana and most of the time wanatakana wafundishwe shuleni, kama ni ule anaenda shule, mwalimu wa hiyo life skills anatakana demonstrate ndio wajue vile jinsi ya kuweka vizuri, na hata kuna karatasi moja wanatupa lakini inatakana iko na kazi yake. So kama ni I want to believe kama ni mtoto mdogo bado anaenda shule, pengine ongea na mwalimu anaweza muonyesha, lakini kama si hivyo maybe family member, a lady, an older girl can be able amsaidie vile ya kuweka ndio itumike vizuri, kwa sababu pia isipowekwa vizuri sometimes inaweza kumsumbua ama kukuwe na leakage which then can cause ile embarrassment yenye hata inaweza fanya mtoto asitake kwenda shule. Yeah.
All right. Cedric?
Yes.
Umesaidika kwa sawa?
Yes.
Okay.
Asante sana for calling, Cedric. Or you can also take that initiative and msaidie kumfunza pia. Mtu akufunze alafu umfunze, right? So we're saying inclusivity, right? Yeah. All right, thanks, Cedric. And also the question that we're asking you today, like we said, if you could change one thing about how the society treats menstruation, what would it be? Let's hear what some of you had to say on our WhatsApp number, 0112 500 400. Let's see some of the feedback from what everybody is saying. Okay, so hashtag Flow with Pride. If I could bring this menstruation education low as grade 1 to start normalizing this in every little girl's mind, creating awareness in the process. Fantastic. I really like that. All right. Reverend Esbon Mwangi says, watching from Kagio, Kirinyaga County, I recall going to shop and asking for a pad, and the lady shopkeeper looked at me like, where? The society still needs to change how we view menstruation. I absolutely agree. And then someone here says, kudos, I celebrate all of you guys. And Zizetu, the 80s and 90s, no one would talk openly about menstruation juu ilikuwa aibu. But today, it's something to be celebrated. Absolutely, all right? And still more on Facebook, as we sample more from our WhatsApp number. Someone here says, this is halftime DRW tips. Why? On Facebook says, I believe companies should include sanitary pads or menstrual hygiene products as part of employee benefits for women. I really like that.
Yes,
I like
please.
that. And that actually reminds me, you see the way we have like condom dispensers in
everywhere.
public spaces. Why don't we have sanitary towels, you know, pads, dispensers in washrooms and all those things?
Yeah.
All right. And then another one says, Chang Toek Nancy, still on Facebook, says, to me, girls from primary, junior secondary, and senior secondary schools be provided with sanitary towels or pads because most of them are going through a lot. Some are partial offense, total offense, or have both parents but not able to get sanitary every other time. So if the government will intervene and provide them, it will be better.
That would be really good.
Wow.
That would be really good.
Okay, and then Breezy Hamal says, give all the ladies free pads instead of free condoms. Because your condoms are make a
It doesn't make sense, really. One, you have a choice to do. The other, you really don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice.
You don't.
Yeah.
And we have a caller.
We have a caller.
Yes,
okay,
we do.
Let me just finish this.
Yes.
Says, not having pads in your periods is the worst feeling you can be in, especially in teen from a poor home. Totally agree. All right, can we answer the call?
Yes, we have Anne from Kawangware. Hi, Anne.
Hey, how are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
I'm good.
Uko na swali, unataka kuchangia mada?
Nataka ni swali.
Yes.
Na pia kuchangia. Ningependa kuuliza daktari.
Yes.
Kuna time unajipata heavy menstruation cycle, like heavy bleeding. You do what you do. Sometimes you feel like you can take away your life. But hakuna venye unaweza kuwa na that education, venye tunaweza kuwa tukiwa trained. Ukijipata you have a heavy bleeding, how you're supposed to take care of yourself, how you're supposed to take care of the family around you. Kwa sababu unajipata the self-esteem is so down. Kuna that thing, that feeling, unaona 4 days they are too a lot. the bleeding very heavy. Hakuna venye kunaweza kuwa na kuna education tunatumia messages zenye Safaricom hufanya.
Yeah. Oh, Daktari.
I hear that because most of the time, and then you're scared. Maybe talik, because of the heavy bleeding. So I mean, I hear what she's saying.
Yes. And thank you very much for ilo swali. And as we say, menstruation is a normal process, physiology. It's a normal process for every woman in the reproductive period, 15 to 49 years. But now there are disorders associated with menstruation. So menstruation is not the same for everybody. Actually, different people experience different things. But the majority experience normal flow, which may run for 3 to 4 days, 5 days, it is over, and you can manage with 2 to 3 pads and it's okay. But when you start having very heavy menses that makes you not sure whether you should attend church or you should go to a wedding or not go and those kinds of things, it means you need to go and be checked in the hospital because there are many reasons that can make your periods abnormal to the point where it is just overflowing. So my recommendation is that kama unakuwa na very heavy periods, depending on your age, have yourself checked so that the doctor can determine whether this is just normal or there is another factor that is causing you to have heavy menses.
All right. Do you want to emphasize a little bit on the age part, where you said depending on the age?
Yes. Yeah, because women, let's say from maybe 40 going onwards, some could be having fibroids, yes, which is rare much earlier. So, and there's also something called dysfunctional uterine bleeding, but it comes later, 30s, 40s going on.
Okay.
So depending on the age, if somebody is 20 and they're really having intolerable bleeding, then they really need to be checked.
Okay. Yes. Thanks, Doc. All right. Anne, are you okay?
It is, I'm keeping jealous.
All right, asante sana. Thank you very much, Anne. Okay, can I read one more comment?
Yes, please.
Or maybe two? Okay. So, someone here says, Wamwangangi says, I would say no woman should stop menstruation due to birth control. Let the woman menstruate naturally because MPs are natural, unlike sex, which is a controllable behavior. Nikonjelaini, but even sawa. Okay. Joy Lab amesema ending the stigma and silence around menstruation, and then again, so many people still continue to say, give all the ladies free pads instead of free condoms.
I hope they're listening.
Yes, and remember to use the hashtag. We're saying
Flow with Pride.
The hashtag is Flow with Pride today. Yeah.
We have one more feedback on WhatsApp. If we could just have that on the screen so that we can read it out.
Okay.
Oh, there you go, Willie.
Yes, it's Marianne again, who says, hashtag Flow with Pride. I have a question for Daktari. I'm 29 years old with 2 kids. I have been receiving very little blood from my menstruations, and it comes sometimes like a clot. Okay, so I think there's a concern there, Daktari, for you. Yes. I don't know if they continued with the question, but yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So Marianne, that's not normal. At 29, your period should not be scanty. They should become scanty when you are approaching menopause, which should be, 45 going onwards. So, and then you're saying sometimes you have these heavy menses. So it is really an indication that you should see a doctor to check you out and find out. But then the other thing is, the question is, are you also using any contraceptives? Some of them, their side effect is to make the periods disappear. Others make people have heavy menses. So your doctor should be able to tie all that story and come up with what could be the reason and prescribe a solution. Yes.
Great. All right. Thanks, Doc. Before we went on a break, I had a question for you, Njeri, where and you said this earlier on in terms of there's some people who, again, out of goodwill, would want to donate, sanitary towels, whether reusable or single use, and then some girls would say this is too big for me, or this is not, it reacts to me with me, but sometimes there's that fear, well, this doesn't work for me because this person has donated.
Yes.
So how do we then approach this such that, yes, we help as many girls and women out there, but also ensure that it's something that it's of use, and they will feel comfortable using it? Is there a way that we can approach?
Okay, I hear you. That is actually a very complex situation, and it's not sometimes. 90% of the times these girls don't have the courage to say hiyo inaniwasha or something. And I've also been thinking of how we're going to do, like how can we address that, because we are doing this out of goodwill, but then again it's not meeting the intention it's supposed to meet. So I was thinking of coming up with sustainable solutions. These are adolescent girls. Why are they getting donations as pads? Not that it's wrong, but why are they getting donations as pads? It's because they come from poor backgrounds. It's because their parents cannot afford. It's because they come from households where parents have to choose between buying sanitary towels and buying food. So if we could put their parents in a position to afford, right? That is one. Second, if we could invest in quality menstrual products, because I'm pretty sure if you get the quality menstrual products, they will rarely react with anyone. If you could, when we're doing these donations, if that's what we're doing, if we could invest in quality menstrual,
don't just buy for the sake of buying.
Invest in quality menstrual products. Wait, I've lost my thought process. And apart from investing in quality menstrual products, I'd urge the government to make menstrual products tax-free or free, the way people are saying. Because when we say free, we need to say free and quality menstrual products. Because otherwise it will be done just to check boxes. It needs to be intentional, and that goes to gender-responsive budgeting. Gender-responsive budgeting.
Oh wow, I like that. So it could just be free, and then it's just it's just chukweni.
There's a lot of hue and cry about the reusable pads, where everybody, started quote-unquote manufacturing these reusable pads, and then they ended up not being, of good quality, and people didn't even know how to use them. So I hear you when you're saying quality, in as much as you're giving it for free.
Because hygiene is also put in there. And I know we are asking government, and you have UNFPA in it, and but as humans, huku wananchi wa kawaida, Polycom, how can we help? How do we step in? And what are some of the probably the two corners, some places where you would probably be like, you know what, as we wait for the government to have its house in order and help us in the way that they should, how can we come in then to just assist in what way?
Okay.
Hapo nasimama hivi nasema asanteni kwa nafasi hii. Kamera yangu ni gani?
So at Polycom Girls, our most powerful tool is listening. And we do this through our talking boxes. So our talking boxes is, we had said we put them in the schools that we work in. And then the students or the girls anonymously write messages to us, and then they place them in those talking boxes. So at first, we explored the bit of the reusable parts. Then we took them to the kids, and then after taking them to the schools, girls wrote us a note again, and they told us that it's not working. Why? We don't have access to water. One, and then some use bad materials. And then we don't even know how to air them. If we can't air our panties outside, how do you expect us to air now a reusable pad? So that is why for us, after getting that feedback, we resorted to now producing the Jipende disposable pads, which we again took them to the kids. They help us in now designing even the colors and how they wanted the pads to look like. So for us, our Jipende pads are wingless, and then we've never had any feedback that they're itchy or something, and we really appreciate that. And then another school, not really another school, another thing that we are doing is also now just complementing what the school has, the bits of life skills lessons and stuff like that. So also for us as Polycom Girls, we go in to help us build this more and more. So we do more of the life skills education in schools. Collaboration, when you teach a kid on matters collaboration, they'll be able to identify. They'll be like, I am the one at the center, and who is the most recent person or the most person that I trust the most, that I can reach out to when I have vaginal infections or I lack panty or a pad. If you're not there to now get to them immediately. And also, as I said, we listen so much. We don't work on assumptions. And that is why today I came with Yes, the Syria Mwezi.
Just hold it up, hold it up, hold it up, hold it up.
And then do you want to like open the different pages so that people see what it is as you tell us what Syria Mwezi is all about?
Yes, the Syria Mwezi. Yes, yeah. Yeah, this is a comic book on matters menstrual health, management, and also hygiene. This one, we co-developed this book with the adolescent girls from these schools. Yeah. So their messages are the ones that are in here. So they'd say that we also want the boys to be included in the conversation on matters period because they laugh at us when we have a leak in class. Yeah. So what if we engage them in these conversations, in understanding. So from this book, we don't only use them in school, but even in the community barazas. Yeah, so we are demystifying the myths that surrounds menstruation. It is normal, so we are encouraging. You can see our book, we also have the boys also having this conversation in the classes.
We're using everything. We're using everything we have to just push this conversation forward. We have lots of questions for you, Dr. on our WhatsApp, and we'd like to tackle them quickly before our time is up. Winnie?
Oh yeah, so this one says, hello, I have this question. What is the cause of the pimples around the private part during, before, or after menses? All right, Dr.
Yeah, it is just associated with the hormonal changes that come during the cycle. You know, there are two hormones that regulate this, the progesterone and estrogen. So the levels code for that. That's why you either have it on your face somewhere. Some people have it around the genital area.
All right.
And it normally disappears when the period ends.
After. Okay.
We have more questions. Maybe we'll just go through all of the questions. Then
all right.
We'll
then I hope you remember, Doc. But I think this is more of a comment on the question where it says universal access to affordable, safe, and sustainable menstrual products and education, regardless of geography, income level, or social status. All right, I think that's the response to the question of the day. This is a question, I believe, says, hi, I am Faith, I'm 22. I usually don't have cramps and my periods lasts one day. Is that normal? Is it not? Daktari? Maybe, Okay. And then can you, let me ask this and then you answer both. So this one says, I have been receiving very painful periods to a point of even walking is a problem. What might be the problem?
Yeah. Yes. So the first person has very scanty, a very short cycle. It's the normal period is supposed to be 3 to 5 days. Some people you can even stretch beyond that. So for her case, she's 22, so not too young, just one day. It's a bit too short. So she really needs to also be checked by a gynecologist.
Oh, I see.
Yes, to just rule out anything else.
Okay.
Yes. And then the other person has severe dysmenorrhea that is debilitating. It's almost stopping her from doing the normal activities of life. So for that also, depending on the severity, there are medications that we even buy over the counter. But if that is not working, then that means she also needs the gynecologist to really figure out and make sure that it is not just cramps, because there is something called polycystic ovarian syndrome. It tends to aggravate menstrual symptoms, and it is a condition that should be sorted out.
All right.
Okay. And our time is up.
Is it?
It is.
Oh no.
It is. We can just get probably final comments as we wind up.
Can we start there?
Yes, we can start. We can start here. Definitely, Jerry.
Okay. My final comments.
Yes.
I will urge. Let me just speak to the government because. For me, I hope they included menstrual health in the prayers they were having today. And since faith without action is dead, I will say that tackling or managing menstrual health requires an intersectional approach that recognizes the diverse challenges menstruators face. Tackling menstrual health is more than just providing sanitary towels to school girls. It is about ensuring that sanitary towels are affordable, of good quality, and accessible to all. Article 43 of our Constitution guarantees that, provides that we as the citizens of Kenya have the right to the highest attainable
attainable.
healthcare, which is also menstrual health. Yet there are women out there who have to debate between menstrual products and food. Yet there are women who cannot access healthcare for menstrual-related conditions. Yet there are women or school girls out there that are missing opportunities in school just because they're going through a natural occurrence. I'd urge them to include and prioritize menstrual health in our healthcare systems and just include it into the school curriculum. Yes, just empower women. All this is to just empower women and unlock the potential of women in Kenya.
Prioritize. I like that.
You've got 30 seconds. We have news coming up. So, Kika, kidogo 30 seconds.
And how we can include the men since you're in this space.
Yes. Actually, mine is to the men. The men outside there should know that the ladies passing through menstruation is not being dirty, and it's not a taboo. So men should be inclusive and find a way that we can help these ladies. It might be your sister, your neighbor. Find a way if you can help with a pad, if you can help with this, maybe the knowledge to the young ones, you can help one or two, and also make sure we be a part of the community, because when you don't consider our women being safe mentally and generally, the community is not safe. Because the women are the ones who...
Love it.
Like that. I like that. All right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
10 seconds.
10 seconds, that's true.
Okay, so my parting shot is we are not ending period shame by just speaking louder. We should listen deeper. When our girls speak, let us listen. That is what, to me, dignity looks like. Thank you.
That is so deep. I love that.
Deep.
All right,
So my final thoughts is that getting to a period-friendly country calls for really dignified approach to menstruation, which is a physiological process. Let's put all hands on the deck.
Hey, points on points. Can I read 2 comments? Briefly, on X.
As you close.
As we close. Double M on X says, I'd put up a store in every school where girls can easily pick pads during their days without paying a coin. Love that. And then Amudine says, I'm going to let the world know that menstruation is not just a 3 to 5 day event in the body of a woman, yet it is the whole cycle of 21 to 28 days that unfolds the transformative process of a female body. I love that.
Yes.
And on that note, it's Kwaheri. Thank you so much for coming. Asanteni sana for tuning in. Kwaheri.
Goodbye. We'll see you tomorrow. And thanks for watching. Goodbye.